welcome to another episode of the I'm Just Saying show. Hey ladies.
Hey.
So what's going on this week? Let's get into what's been happening.
I know one thing. Have you guys remember Daniel, Boobie Gibson, Keisha Cole's husband, who plays for the cast?
Yeah.
Did you guys know he was arrested for second-degree battery charges?
He beat somebody up.
Yes.
He did.
Keisha?
No, I didn't say DV.
Okay.
No.
He
He
loves
loves
Keisha.
Keisha. I love Keisha Cole because that is my girl and we made a
Okay, you sound like you are not Celine.
She better make me spit this coffee out again.
But no, what happened? Keisha was performing at an award show, and while on stage, according to what Daniel Gibson told TMZ, a male spectator, I'm not going to even call him a fan, a spectator was making, he said, inappropriate and completely derogatory comments about his wife. So he admitted that, yes, he felt that he had to defend his wife and his family. He was arrested. He did turn himself in, but he bonded out several hours later. So he said when it goes to trial or whatever happens, then he feels that he will be completely exonerated.
What did he do?
Okay, so he had.
I think they said he broke the man's jaw, I
Yeah,
believe.
First of all,
That's
okay.
crazy.
Well, we were talking about it a little bit at work, and one girl, hey Britt, shout out, one girl was saying, when you are wealthy, when you are a star, you need to hold yourself to a higher standard because you know people are going to try to provoke you.
Absolutely.
And my thing is, I think the other way. I think people do that on purpose because just because you're a star, you're still going to be protective of, in Boobie's case, his wife. Remember, we talked about
Scottie Pippen.
and his daughter. So I think
I think they're different.
Because I think when you assault, when you take it to assault, it's something different.
Yeah,
To
verbally
me,
assaulting somebody is one thing. To spit on
somebody else
or to physically
assault somebody, that's something.
that's something
And if you
totally
go back,
different.
if you go back to the Scottie Pippen situation, I think the one thing that we brought out is he entertained that guy for a while.
He did.
It wasn't until the spit was exchanged that he committed.
Well, they didn't exchange spit. They
No,
weren't kissing.
I'm saying that it wasn't until he spit on Scotty's daughter.
He spit it. He spun.
Anyways, on Scotty's daughter that it got raw. My whole thing is people gonna say stuff. You're an entertainer, like that's it.
If somebody going off on you, you know your husband is gonna jump to your defense.
We have this
Jump to my defense. But I don't think that
he gonna be charges.
Not pick up charges.
No, I don't think he was. I think he was wrong in
Nah,
that.
if he like, man, you better back off. Slow your roll.
So do you agree that these people need to hold themselves to more restraint?
No, what I think is just as a person, he needs to practice some self-control.
Correct.
But we always have this debate because Shani is of the mindset when you're an entertainer, that's the expectation. You should hold yourself. And I'm like, no, they're still people.
Exactly.
And we try to hold them to the standard that they don't get mad. You know, all of a sudden, this person is a diva or this person is a bitch or this person is whatever because they. And I'm like, they're people. They're able to have bad days. They're able to get mad when somebody talk about their loved one. They're able to, you know. But I think he should have practiced self-control.
The other thing I want to say, did you guys hear about Toni Braxton?
She broke.
Well,
no, we knew that.
right. She is broke. But listen, what she wanted to do is part of her bankruptcy agreement. She was going to be allowed to buy back some of the royalties to some of her songs. The caveat or the kind of asterisk to that is the judge said if other people could bid on them too. She had bid $20,000 for 7 of her songs. Somebody at the last minute came in, some guy, and bid $40,000.
Oh, he just
and
so
she was
a-hole.
Exactly, and she said she was devastated by that.
Now she should have pulled a Boobie Gibson on his ass.
Well, damn it, why didn't Tamar just come in and beat him out?
So you guys, hit us up. Twitter, Facebook, whatever. Let us know what you think. We really want your feedback and your commentary. Was Boobie right or wrong? And will Toni be able to breathe again? Breathe again.
I hope she ain't breathing like that.
Well, what's our topic for today?
Why by the cow.
Right, shoot it if it
You
sounds like
get
that.
the milk for free.
You can get the milk for free.
So why buy a cow?
Didn't pay homage to Dion. Hoi, hoi, free.
Hold on. Whew, I had to shut the haters off.
Okay.
So why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free?
Okay.
That's a good question.
That is a good question. Who among us?
I was talking to my nephew before we started taping, and he said, he said, I wouldn't buy the cow. He said, why would I, get into that whole committed financially? Why would I get into all of that when I'm getting the benefits of what I want?
So I don't know. I think it's a fine line. I kind of feel like women really kind of have to set the boundaries in terms of when to say when.
How far we'll go.
How far, yeah, because people will only do what you allow them to do.
That's true.
To and with you. And, I think.
Have you given up free milk?
I have.
Have you given up free milk?
No, not me.
Shit.
Have you given up free, girl? You done got a milk down factory. Have you given up free milk?
Someone
got
bought the
the-
cow.
Eventually, but before that cow purchase,
And he had to be persuaded to do that.
he was cattle down Friday. Have you given up free milk?
Well,
Okay.
It wasn't
So we
free.
all have. Okay. I know that. Now I know that's right.
Now, there's
you
a
go.
caveat right
There
there.
it is.
right.
There's the
Like, is
caveat.
the milk really free?
Is it really free?
But it's free to the extent that I don't have to pay as much for the milk as I do for the cow. But I have a thought. If the guy doesn't buy the cow, does he get all the benefits? When you just get the milk, all you getting is the milk. But sometimes, I might want some steak or I might want some leather to keep me warm. But some women just give, and I'm saying the milk is sex. Obviously, we're all adults.
Well,
but there are
and not just sex though.
Time.
It's like we
Well,
give,
that's true.
we
That's true.
cook the food.
Emotionally.
I mean, you have
Right.
women who they're cooking and they're cleaning and they're taking care of his kids and they're giving them sex and they're helping financially, and what makes him say, "Let me put a ring on his finger"?
Well, what makes us say,
Let him not.
right, what makes us say he doesn't have to?
Well, but the expectation is that he will once we've already
Giving him all.
given him all these reasons not
if
to.
I could
Not
be
to need to.
honest,
Please.
if I could be honest, I did more for my husband in the
Before
trying
you
to
were
get you
married.
stage than I do now.
Oh, and that's exactly
Yeah.
what I was about to
He
say.
was
is
like,
that
man, I remember you made my lunch every day when I went to work.
that's
and
right.
You wash my clothes.
Right.
And the good guy
And I-
does see that as incentive to go ahead
and
and
he was
take
like,
the
you
next
don't do
step.
none of that now.
Okay.
You know.
Oh, okay.
Well, and I think, like for women, sometimes maybe we might have that that kind of that line of thinking that let me give him a little bit of a taste
Okay.
of what he might be in store for if
Okay.
he puts a ring on it.
Okay.
And then we do kind of become more giving in the relationship and give more of ourselves, our time, our affection, our all of that.
Okay.
We do kind of invest more in it with
Expecting
the
or hoping to get-
expectation
yeah. Okay.
that we're going to get something in return.
You know, I think that, and I lived with Marcus several years before we got married. Like, several, a couple years.
A couple.
Living in sin. Okay.
A couple, one, I don't know. I lived with Marcus several years before we actually got married. And the one thing that I would probably want my kids to do, especially my daughter, is not to do that.
Why would you say that? That's interesting.
Because I believe that it takes longer
Okay.
for him to commit.
Because he's more comfortable.
Because they had a marital relationship.
Because we were
without the
already
marriage.
without the marriage. It's the
Okay.
reason why,
Okay.
going back biblically, and you can, I don't know, that God said, don't do these things
Right.
until it's your
Do it in
husband.
this
And
order.
do it in this order.
Right.
And it's the reason why. But I feel like if you're living married and you're acting married, you get those things like, well, we don't need a piece of paper to
Right.
to say we
That's
married and all of this
And it's
this
so
and that.
double-sided.
You know, I
Right.
told especially my daughter, I would like you to, even if you have sex, I want you to hold off on sex. But even
Okay.
if you did have sex, I want you to keep your own apartment. I want you to go home sometimes.
Yeah.
I want you to have your own.
That's right.
And let it be known that you don't know everything about me. It's still
Okay.
some mystery.
There
and,
you go. I
And,
like that.
and you know, I
So
think
he can
that's
discover her
Right.
and take pleasure in that,
Mhm.
learning his wife, not just my. I like that. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, but on the other side, let me see, what was I gonna say?
that's how I feel. Like when that current topic.
Well, while you think about that, I want to ask a question to you ladies and to you out there, men and women. What about, like you said, you kind of feel like as the woman you do these certain things to show, or do we do too much to show that I would be a good catch? Should the man do more to show? Because it seems like the man isn't as excited or eager to show, look, I would be a good catch, as we as women are to show, look, I would be a good catch. So do we have to put something on display, or do we have to say, hey, stop, look, I'm the prize, you show me everything? Like, what is the balance for that?
I think it's a toss-up because honestly, I feel like coming in all level playing field.
Mm-hmm.
I think that in a traditional type of relationship, the woman has more to offer.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I say that is because generally, what she's going to get from that male is companionship and financial security.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
The male, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
gets far more than that.
Mm.
And I think that because of the emotional investment
Mm-hmm.
that women come into the relationship with, or once she gets to that point
Mm-hmm.
where she's emotionally invested,
Mm-hmm.
she is more forthcoming with
Okay.
more of herself.
Okay.
And even I just think that from an emotional standpoint, men typically tend to be more guarded.
Mm-hmm.
If they even go there,
Okay.
if they even go there,
Okay.
and that like in long-term relationships that I've had,
Mm-hmm.
I have often felt like I'm far more invested in this. Yes, you pay for dinner every time we go out, and yes, you pay for the hotels every time we go out. But on a day-to-day kind of grind, I give more, and I give more
I get you.
consistently,
Okay.
and you don't have to ask for it.
Right. Right.
So I don't know.
And even if they give 50% a lot of the time, then it becomes, well, you're getting all of me anyway. They just don't understand
Okay.
why you want the ring and
I see.
the commitment under God's eyes and
Okay.
the ceremony. They're like, why do we need all that? I'm doing everything. You're getting everything that a
Right.
husband would get. What is it? You know, and that becomes the issue. But for a woman, I think it's more of a bond.
Yeah.
And
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
and by the same using their very own argument, if it doesn't make that big of a difference,
Then
then
why
what
not?
is the big, aversion to
Doing it.
doing it?
Then why not?
You know?
That's true.
Right.
That's true. It's interesting because I wonder what it is about the man that makes, like my nephew was saying, I don't want the cow. But yet, in your example, like if you do live with somebody, you still are monogamous or faithful, hopefully. You still are putting up half the bills or however we're doing that. You're still coming home to me every night, so why not? Like you said, why the aversion to making it legal or making it official? What are you afraid? What is the guy afraid of giving up? Or he'll say, well, I'm not ready, or let me get myself stable.
That I think that just depending on where the man is on his life journey, kind of comes into play as well. Like my guess would be that people that have been in a marriage before, obviously in an unsuccessful marriage, if they're not married anymore, would be a little more apprehensive about taking that walk again. At least in my experience, the men that I've dated that have been married before, that's been the case. That it's just like marriage. You don't say the M word.
And they kind of cool as long as you don't. But I think another thing is that I think men always, well, I think everybody kind of does it to some degree, but especially men, they're always, they kind of want everything to be perfect. And they're looking for any, like, you know, you guys live together, you have this marital type relationship, and any little thing, anytime you step outside of that box or that boundary, it's like, you see, that's why I ain't gonna marry you, you know? I mean, and it's all, and it's like, it's never going to be,
like, you earned dinner.
I knew it. Let me ask this: Does sex muddy the water as to when it's a perfect? Like if you and I are dating for a year, 2 years, whatever, and we never have sex, does that make a difference as to when the guy feels like it's time to take it to the next level?
Right.
Or does sex muddy the water at all?
I don't think virgins last that long.
What do you mean?
I think a man is more likely to marry a virgin faster than he would marry someone that he's already had sex with.
Yeah.
I think that if you hold off till marriage, you'll be married within 2 years.
Yeah. I agree with that
If
too.
you're in a serious relationship.
I agree with
now,
that
do
too.
y'all see why I got married so quickly?
No, because
Why?
so your baby could be at the wedding.
Right, because she was there.
Right.
Yours was too,
Oh.
and so was yours.
Okay. You see why I waited? No, I don't see.
Anyways, in closing, if I have any advice to women, this would be my advice. Do not continuously talk about marriage with the man.
Yeah, that's
Set in your mind when is your win time, how long you're going to give them your goal, and just stick to it.
Yep.
Because what happens when you continuously nag, it does push the process back.
Yeah.
Let me ask you
I
something
believe
about that advice you just gave. What if you and I are dating long term, 3-4 years, and we have a kid now? Do I still need to set myself a window? Because it's going to be much harder for me to leave with that kid. Or kids, maybe.
I think you still need to set a window. I mean,
Okay.
and this is from my experience of knowing people that I know a lot of people, especially older couples that's been together 20, 30 years, and still not married.
Yeah, me too.
The longer it lasts, the more it is
It's just comfortable
the
being
more
alone.
likely it is that you will get married.
Wow.
So I believe that you have to set a limit.
Okay.
Because if he's not going to marry you, and you know that that's what you want, that's what you
You're
want,
wasting your
then you're
time.
not compatible,
I get
and you
you.
need to move on.
Okay.
So I think I don't think you should pressure a guy, because it definitely should be their decision. But I think just in your mind, like, I'm gonna give it this, and when I get there, if it's not happening, I'm gonna take it as that. And sometimes when you do that, that makes him
Realize what he lost.
what he
That
lost.
is true.
Mhm.
That's true.
That is true.
Yeah, you'd be buddies.
Oh.
Got a couple buddies.
You do. All right, and for today's local spotlight, we are featuring a company called Free Time Lifestyle Management. This is a postcard for the company, but it's a company that is owned by Felicia Roberson, and what they do is they're basically a virtual solution specialist company. They really help people, their customers, with time management things. If you have, like, for example, a lot of bulk mailing, if you're a property owner, they will handle, you know, your tenant payments, getting your utilities set up. They do a lot of handling of administrative inquiries, things like that. They can be reached online at www.freetime-canton.com. www.freetime altogether -canton.com. Also, I have a telephone number for the company, which is 330-573-6147. Again, that is Free Time Lifestyle Management. Give them a call, because I think we could all agree, as working women, or even if we work, in the home, as men who are business owners or property owners, young people, whoever, everybody can use some free time. Sometimes it's worth the money, to free up some time. So give them a call.
All right, ladies, that was a really good show. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the I'm Just Saying show. Be sure to tune in next week when we will be discussing back to school topics.
Yeah.
I know.
So glad they going
Out.
back to school.
Out. Well, I'm Teak, and I'm just saying, if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it.
Okay.
I'm Shiny, and I'm just saying, don't be tired, fired, and undesired. Keep your legs closed, and you'll get the man.
Okay. I'm Dee, and I'm just saying your attitude is either your biggest asset or your biggest liability.
All right. I'm Chris, and I'm just saying, infinity is one.
What about infinity times infinity? Bye.
Bye.
She's about 10.
I'm Stephanie, and I'm just saying, be who you're gonna be.
And then listen to this. I said,
What up, though? I'm Diamond, and I'm just saying, keep your hoes in check.
I'm Tasha Renee, and I'm just saying, if you like your thing, you better put a ring on it.
I think that when you have a job,
accepted any of our spouses would.
But
I
my
think
spouse
that-
probably would have hit them too, though. I mean,
I think that when you have a job,
but a
you
pause
have.
on them, your fears naive me.
I think that when you have a job, you have an
That's
obligation to live up to a certain
Okay,
standard.
scrappy.
Can I say this, damn it?
Okay.
Say it.
God damn
You
it.
say it. Don't spray
I'm
it.
not gonna say I think one more damn time.
Say it.
Now I'm about to
Yeah,
get
me.
some assault charges on this one.
self-control, some regular
No, because I wouldn't sue you. See you next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
On each end.
Age factors in. Age factors in. Called us cunts.
Did you just say that?
No.
Yes.
No.
She did.
They called me.
See you next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
Oh,
They said that. I didn't say
called
that.
us cunts.
They said that. I didn't say that.
Wow.
On each end.
On each end.
Well, this has been an interesting discussion.
What?
Speaking of cunt.
this is taking a whole different turn. I'm Shiny, and I'm just saying, don't be tired, fired, and undesired. Keep your legs closed, and you'll get the man.
Okay.
And coin it, baby.
Okay.
What's so stupid?
And coin it, baby.
Go ahead, baby.
Is that more?
Stop, baby.
Just be gone. The bitches are infiltrating the palace.
Right.
Out with you.
Stop,
Out with
baby.
you. Bitch, out with you. You will not dethrone this palace. Coin it, baby. Coin it, baby. The queen has spoken. Your legs closed. Keep your mouth closed too, because these days they be swallowing babies. People be getting pregnant in their mouth.
What?